What's going on, y'all? I'm KM Best, and I'm here to talk to you about Kitty Pryde, who is one of the most impactful cards in the newest meta of Marvel Snap. Now, Kitty Pryde was just given out to every player in the game for free, and that means there's going to be a ton of people wondering what the best things to do with their Kitty Pryde are. So now that you have this card, this incredibly unique and special card, let's take a look at some decks that you can play Kitty Pryde in that I think are the best ways to optimize her incredibly unique and powerful skill set. First up, we have the basic Kitty Pryde bounce deck, and I think this deck sort of sets the bar for what a deck that puts points on the board and doesn't really interact outside of putting points on the board needs to do. So this deck, especially if you draw Kitty early, is one of the most powerful point slam decks in the entire game. Note, of course, if you send Kitty back to your hand with Beast or Falcon, that counts for her trigger. So, very important thing to understand there is that beasting Kitty Pryde is one of the most powerful plays you can make very early. You go Kitty Pryde on 1, Kitty Pryde and a Bast on 2, then you beast the Kitty Pryde on 3, and it is free to play Kitty Pryde for the rest of the game. Now, you can see the whole deck is built around those two cards, Kitty Pryde and Bast, with a fair helping of being built around Falcon and Beast as well. So, of course, you know, Bishop, great with Kitty Pryde. Angela, great with Kitty Pryde. Both of them also great with Bast. Hitmonkey goes in the deck with the wraparound synergy from Kitty Pryde. You're always playing her on 6. You play a bunch of cards on 6. Beast makes your cards cheaper. Mysterio, excellent with Bast. The deck all sort of fits together. The two major flex spots, as I see it, the Iceman spot is generally just really good. You run Iceman there, but it is a bit of a flex. So if you think, you know, I want to run Korg so that I can try to like high roll win some mirrors, that's totally understandable. And the collector spot, I think there's still a little bit of question about, you know, how exactly the collector is supposed to go in this list. But for now, I think he's just a generally pretty good card. It's just, your curve is a little awkward sometimes. Like if you have Angela, Bishop, and the collector, and you're doing Kitty stuff, one of them is getting left behind. And that's not always ideal, but generally you're able to deal with it. Now, this deck does run America Chavez. The logic behind it is that you are going to be wanting to draw specific cards at specific times, right? You always want Kitty early. You always want Beast before turn 6. You always want Falcon before turn 6. You always want Angela and Bishop before turn 6. There are tons of cards that you want before turn 6. Now, the notable thing here, though, you do actually want to be able to draw Hitmonkey on turn 6. So we are a little bit closer to being a Chavez-less deck than the Bounce archetype has ever been. That said, I am still running Chavez in here, although I did test some non-Chavez Bounce as well during my stream. So this is the sort of default list for this archetype right now, but there's still plenty of customization and optimization available. Now, one thing that is absolutely non-negotiable, though, in my opinion, is Hitmonkey. This deck is just too good with Hitmonkey, and that means Mysterio goes with Hitmonkey. Now, like I said, there are some flex spots, but they're not the kind of flex spots that are going to save you money if you're looking for a budget build of this list. You are going to need to have Hitmonkey. You are going to need to have, you know, Mysterio and Bast and Kitty Pryde, and you are going to need those cards. They are going to be necessary if you want to play this. So this is an archetype that is in the middle of massive fluctuation. And I think there are two things that sort of hold it back from being perfectly optimized. You can see this is a Moon Girl She-Hulk deck, but here's the issue. Kitty Pryde conflicts a bit with your Moon Girl She-Hulk plan. The Collector is a little bit iffy in here. The Quinjet is a little bit iffy in here. I have seen builds of this list that are instead going for a Bast and Wasp package instead of the She-Hulks. For me, I feel like the power of the She-Hulks has been something I really valued, but I understand why you would want to go for something that's a little more synergistic with Kitty Pryde. Me personally, I'm still playing this list, but if you want to make those changes, I totally understand. This list is built around playing Moon Girl and then using it to do something super broken. So you can use it to play a bunch of Hitmonkeys, a bunch of She-Hulks, whatever it is you want. Now, one issue that you will run into, though, is that you are a little bit more vulnerable to Killmonger than the other Kitty Pryde list. And the other Kitty Pryde list is already very vulnerable to Killmonger. So the bounce list, already vulnerable to Killmonger. This list, relying on Sunspot, even more vulnerable to Killmonger. But since we have the She-Hulk, we're not 100% dead to Killmonger. It's just really sad to see our sunspots get evaporated because we are, using the She-Hulk to end up with big sunspots a lot of the time. So it's simultaneously more vulnerable and maybe a bit less vulnerable to Killmonger. But I do think if you go for the Wasp version of it, you're going to be even more vulnerable to Killmonger unless you specifically duplicate Hitmonkey on your final turn. And, obviously if you get like Moon Girl Hitmonkeys, that is unbelievable in that list. They are very able to explode on support. Now, another thing that both of these lists have in common is kind of questionable Galactus matchups. This deck has a slightly better Galactus matchup than the Bounce deck. The Bounce deck is just mostly cold to Galactus entirely. Like, they play a Galactus and you're just like, oh, well, guess I die, because you kind of do if they have any sort of follow-up to it. Worth considering that Galactus is a bad matchup for both of these, but a slightly better one for this list. So Sera Control has long been a favorite archetype of mine. I love playing Sera Control decks, and so you'll end up with a little bit of bias here, but I do think this is my current favorite Kitty Pryde list. Now, the issue with this list compared to the other Kitty Pryde lists is the other Kitty Pryde lists high roll a little bit better, but this list, by virtue of the fact that you run Killmonger and Shang-Chi, is very good into other Kitty Pryde lists. Now, what you want to do is throw priority to them so that when you play your Killmonger, it's going to wipe their board. Their Kitty Prydes are going to die. Their Icemen or whatever are going to die. Their Demons are going to die. And then by the time you are able to actually get to turn 6, usually the Bishop or the Collector or the Angela will be a viable target for Shang-Chi. And so by the time you played Zabu and Sera, you go, Shang-Chi Killmonger or whatever, you get them. You just get them. Now, the other thing about this is Kitty Pryde goes very well with Killmonger in the sense that your Killmonger, if you order your things correctly, will never be killing your own Kitty Pryde. So that's genuinely a big upside. Being able to be the Kitty Pryde list that beats the other Kitty Pryde list puts you in a reasonable spot in this metagame. And honestly, this is my favorite Kitty Pryde list so far, but there are so many options and the metagame is so wide open that it is so hard to tell what the actual best one is. Now, in terms of specific card choices, major flex spot here is the Sentinel. Sentinel is my comfort pick there. Enormous flex spot. Huge flex spot. You can kind of do whatever you want there. Scarlet Witch. Jeff. I'd recommend against Lizard, but if you want to, go nuts. Now, the reason I'd recommend against Lizard is because there are a lot of decks. The whole point of this is, we are trying to beat the decks that play other kitties. And, Lizard is great if you Killmonger them, but if you don't Killmonger them, he's kind of a 2-1 some of the time. So Lizard could absolutely work in here. I think there are other cards above him in the hierarchy. Now, in terms of other swap outs, the deck is actually pretty core, really neat and tidy core. I think you could try swapping out Zabu if you wanted. I don't know if you want to swap out Angela. Angela is definitely a little bit worse than Bishop in this list, and she's the closest to being swap outable. But that general core of 2-cost cards, I like this version, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were some optimization on it in the future. Finally, this is a much more speculative list, and it's just a list that I feel like there's something there, and I can't put my finger on it. I do wonder if it's not just a worse version of the Iron Lad control list, but Spider-Man is an extremely powerful card right now, and this is the list that lets you play Kitty with him. I do think there is a distinct possibility that the Iron Lad Doctor Doom version of this deck is better, because Kitty forces you to make some sacrifices in the context of your top end, because you want to be able to play a 5 and Kitty on the final turn of the game. It also makes your Professor X a little more awkward. It makes a lot of things more awkward for this list than, say, just running Nebula would. But I wanted to see how Kitty could fit into an archetype that wasn't necessarily built for her. Now, this does require the sacrifice of Storm, But I was genuinely surprised that just like, okay, this like actually, there's something here with these lockdown lists. I don't know that Kitty is the best card to put in them, but there is something to be said for, you know, lockdown, 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 final turn, Gamora, Kitty. That's a pretty strong thing to be doing, especially if you've been buffing the Kitty all game. It helps you dodge these Killmongers. So, like, you know, now your Kitty, because you're probably not going to have priority. You're only going to be winning one lane by 5. Like, there's some strong things to be done here, especially, you know, between Titania Goblin, locking up lanes, Spider-Man locking up lanes. I think this is kind of a bit of a sleeper. One thing you do have to be aware of, though, is if you give your opponent a Titania or a Green Goblin and they are playing the bounce version of this, they can beast those cards right back up to you. So even more speculative, just consider this one an honorable mention. It's just something I was trying. The idea or the thought process behind it is, you know, we're playing the bounce list, but what if we didn't play America Chavez? I mentioned earlier how we're just a little bit closer to not being a Chavez list than before. The fundamental drive here is A, what if we didn't play America Chavez? And B, what if we were able to play Black Widow and Korg and that gave us an edge in the mirror? I don't know that it actually does. This is just a thing I was experimenting with. Definitely just to show you just how flexible a lot of these cores are right now. This is like a pretty different deck from the other Kitty bounce list. It plays a little bit differently. There's one less payoff. There's a lot more disruption. And just to sort of show you, hey, if you don't like the specifics of a deck, this is the kind of thing that you can mess around with. You can change these cards and see what you end up with, right? So definitely, these are all 100% in flux. And I encourage you to go experiment because right now, as I'm recording this video, someone in chat just made an incredible suggestion of in the Sera deck, I could take the Sentinel out for Beast. I hadn't even thought of that. It seems cool. It seems worth investigating. Do I know if it's better than Sentinel? I have no idea if it's better than Sentinel, and that is what is so cool about these early metagames. I love this time because there's so many things you get to play with. So one thing that you should know about if you're going to be playing Kitty Pryde is how other people are going to be attempting to counter you. And the major way they're going to be doing that are going to be by playing cards like Wave and Sandman that prevent you from playing all of your cards on the final turn of the game. That is the fundamental crux of how people target these Kitty Pryde decks. Outside of the Sera version of targeting it with Killmonger, there is this more general way of targeting it by just putting Wave in your deck or playing a Sandman deck. So here's an example of like a mid-range deck with Wave that you are going to have to be aware of, and you're going to have to, when you see these cards, you're going to have to start expecting, okay, they might Wave me on 5. I need to be aware of that. I've also seen Wave being played in Iron Lad Patriot lists. I have seen Wave being played in Thanos. I think actually the major reason to play Thanos right now is that it is a Wave plus Killmonger deck, which puts it in a good position against Kitty lists. So definitely something to consider. The major counterplay to you, Wave and Sandman, and you can beat them if you know they're coming, but you have to know they're coming, and you have to be able to expect it. I hope you enjoyed this look into Kitty Pryde, my favorite decks with her, what to play with her, and what to do against her. As always, I am KM Best, and we are going to run a couple games after this little exit outro finishes. We're going to run a couple games, and you are going to be able to see Kitty Pryde in action in some matchups that I think might be relevant to your experience on ladder, so you get to see her played, and I hope you enjoyed that. As always, I have been KM Best. Remember, drop your likes, your subscribes, your comments. I read every comment. Don't ask me why. My brain is poisoned. Thank you so much. I will see you next time. Have a good one. Powerful. It's like this whole deck runs on Spider-Man, right? That's the only thing it does. Kitty Shuri is also no joke. Are you sure? Nebula. Happily. Very cool Nebula, by the way. Absolutely ballin'. He's playing Sandman? I don't mind. We're gonna win this game, I think. We die to, like, specifically a Doctor Doom. But I'm willing to play it out. Yeah, he's dead. He actually just died here. Unless that's a Doctor Doom. Is that my Spider-Man or my kitty? If it's the kitty, I don't give a shit. Yeah, he's dead. He's actually just fucking dead. Jeff can beat me. That's true. But check this shit out. Yeah, no, that had to be Doctor Doom. What's the James Harden reference? I'm a playoff choker. I have fake stats, fake MVPs. I die specifically to Doctor Doom. Well, the thing is, they wouldn't want to, like, play it then, right? They'd want to play it on the final turn. Anyway, yeah, we did a thing here. And you're going back to Houston, yeah. I'm the James Harden of Marvel Snap, chat. All my stats are fake. I want to feel like there's less of a I have to try hard in these games. Not gonna use that now, but boy, if I can maintain priority, I would love to be able to dump a kitty and a Hitmonkey in there later. Sentinel's been a little interesting here. I kind of think Sentinel and Kitty might not go together, and Sentinel might need to be Scarlet Witch. I was a little worried about my hand getting too full with both of them, and I think that's like a legitimate worry. It's interesting. Hard to say what's good. So next turn, we do Zabu Kitty, and then something else Kitty, and then Sera. Angela, a Sinister London is a really interesting decision to make. Oh my. Are you going to do a review of the Datamine July season cards? Oh, I actually really should do that. That's actually a really good point. I should do that. Angela-ing a Sinister London is really weird to me, and I don't know what it means. I genuinely don't know what the fuck that means. Gamer. Yep, that's me. Most likely just bouncing them back. Yeah, but like, what if you miss? Like, what if, like, I guess he's not gonna miss. Fuck. But like, if that bounces the collector here, he's in like kind of a ton of trouble. It's not even gonna bounce back. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Very interesting. I would snap here, but I want this game to play out. Why not Bishop on London? Because my London plays are going to be going to be either Sera. What the fuck is happening right now? This is insanity. Now Guidan is going ape shit. What is going on? Do you like DC? DC's nuts? Is that what's happening? This is crazy talk from Now Guidan. Damn, I wish I could draw Shangers. Dupe Kitty on 5 so you could play 2 kitties on 6. That makes a ton of sense, actually. I'm with it. I'm with it. I would love to draw Shangers here. but I'm not sure how much it's gonna matter. I mean, obviously, if I do draw him, he's like the most fucked up card of all time. But we have Nova duplicating into Killmonger. We have multiple kitties and a Hitmonkey. We're like James Sharton? Damn, bro. Damn, Binks coming in with the very questionable dunks. You know what's worst part is? This is going to be on my YouTube. So people are going to see you say that on my YouTube, Binks. They're going to see you and your very questionable sense of humor say that. What the fuck is happening now, Guidan? Hi, YouTube? Okay. Okay. So, 10 and 10. These are some big-ass numbers. All right, no Mysterio. All right. Hitmonkey. Do we dupe the Nova? We can. We can, like, dupe the Nova, go kitty, kitty. We don't do it in that order, though. We dupe the Nova, play a Killmonger. No, we dupe the Nova. We play an Enchantress somewhere, right? Here, I guess. We go Killmonger, kitty, kitty. Is this correct? So as I see it, we have 1, 2, 3 spots, which will get filled by these once the Novas dies. Correct? Let's go! These are cards. And this is why, like, okay, we're winning the middle. We have learned this. Chavez, very cool. I think we're winning the left, too. So Hitmonkey becomes galactic huge. Nova goes over here. Enchantress pops up. Killmonger pops up. Pops both Novas. Kills all their demons. And then we get 2 10-power Kitty Prydes in addition. Hi, YouTube. Because the Celtics are just like born chokers and Miami is clutch as shit. But like it's so weird to see that matchup actually happen. Quinjet. So this is a mirror then. Mirror, I would expect to be determined by whoever draws Moon Girl. Unlucky, but reasonable. Yeah, the Celtics are really good at finding losing lines. Just, oh, okay, it's just, okay. All right. Huh? So, a Moon Girl is our best draw by, like, about a mile and a half. Just our best possible draw by an extreme amount. Yeah, Quinjet just combos with Moon Girl. It's not, like, the greatest thing anyone's ever done, but it's, like, pretty good. So, no... No Moon Girl, huh? No Moon Girl. Saddening. No target? Oh, that's like the worst possible. That is like the worst possible thing that could happen there for them. All right. So I go Kitty Pryde. I get the big soak. And then next turn, we just play a shitload of cards. Kitty Pryde be bouncing. I did expect the dino there. I do think we can beat it, but I am not sure. Okay, so if we go like this. That's not good, right? We go... First, this is already there, right? So 9 plus 8. I think we have to try to win the middle. So we go like Mysterio, 9, 8. So this is 2, 7, 6. So 13, 15. Wait, hold on. We go Mysterio, Hit Monkey. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6. That doesn't work. Yeah, let's find that out. I'm interested. There's a dino over there. And a sentinel. Yeah, we got him. We got him. I think we got him. Unless I did my math wrong. Entirely possible. But I'm pretty sure we got him here. Yep. So the major thing that this let us do was we got to effectively add a card to Mojo World, and it meant that they had to play a card over here. So it was really just, where do they play this dino? Which, obviously, I didn't know they had another dino, but I knew they had a Mystique. So it was a question of, do they put the Mystique over here, or do they put the Mystique over here? So if they'd put the Mystique over here and gone for a Sentinel over here or whatever, right? We would have... The Mystique would be plus 12, so it'd be 12 here instead of 3. They get an additional 9 and they'd win. So that was what happened there. It was just like, I think I'm going to use the fact that I get a free dude over here and then target the middle, the place they're the least likely to play. Very did you draw the kitty centric. Iceman. Damn, I'd love to play your Iceman. What's up, dude? Hell yeah, bro. Pop off. All right. Angie. Is Sentinel better than Jeff here? Or is it more of a side grade? Absolutely side grade. Wow! I got their Iceman. They got my Angela. All right, you know what? Fair enough. That's fair enough. Jeff is probably fine to good in the Sentinel spot, I would think. Fast. All right. Korg. All right. Don't like drawing that rock. I'm going to start losing priority over here, is my thought. The more priority I can lose, the more likely it is that I get to Killmonger their shit. Yeah? So that's pretty much where I'm at here. Also, I'm going to be able to Shang-Chi their Angela in the middle, and probably their Bishop too. So that's kind of where my brain is at right now. I'm thinking we do something like Bishop into Mysterio, and then we're looking at Shang Killmonger next turn. But I'm actually thinking the real Mysterio is going to go over here. And I'm just never, ever going to have priority. It's just not a thing I ever get to have. And I'm assuming they're just not playing armor or whatever, right? Yeah, see, they still have priority here. And so it's just very hard for them to do anything about the fact that I'm about to just play 2 tech cards. It's not like an unlosable game for me. It's actually like a super losable game. But, you know. Let's see what they got. Because, like, yeah, we just play for Prio here. That's not a 1-drop. Good for them. That is a 1-drop. It's fucking dead. That is a 1-drop. It's fucking dead. That is a 1-drop, and it's fucking dead. Okay. So this is, like, again, we're seeing another great example of why, if you want to play a kitty deck, this deck would have the advantage over the other kitty decks. This exact thing, right?